Now, Donald Trump's legal team is having a bit of a tough time keeping the White House together. Now, it seems like everybody's got a legal team here, and that's actually pretty true. Now, according to Politico, who had a report, who spoke with people familiar to internal discussion, they're saying that the lawyers have to consistently remind White House aides and the president to watch themselves. Hey, man, these small things could turn into big things. And you got to be careful. Like, you are under constant scrutiny. You need to make sure not to fuck up. Okay? And you also have to start following some rules. Now, Trump rules? Trump follow rules? Trump follow. No, not going to happen, dude. Not going to happen. Now, Politico writes that Trump's legal team is attempting to separate the president from Donald Trump Jr. and the son's legal team on the matters of Russia, as well as from Jared Kushner and his legal team. Again, everybody's got a legal team. I don't know how normal that is. Over concerns that blurred lines, basically people talking to each other, could create some unnecessary problems. According to these sources, they have tried to block Trump's warring band of aides from joining meetings with his lawyers, warning that they could become witnesses or be forced to hire their own lawyers if they attend. Again, everybody's got lawyers, okay? Like, oh, my lawyers are telling me to stay away from you and your lawyers, even though we're in the White House and we can't talk to each other without lawyers present or without lawyers present, and I can't talk to the president. This is crazy. This is already insane, but it gets more insane. Now, again, they've got lawyers on top of lawyers already. And again, if you're in a meeting and you hear something, well, you might have to hire lawyers in order to meet because you heard something. This is crazy. Now, this is a bit of a mess, right? Especially since they note that Trump likes to pack his meetings full of people. Similar to his freewheeling governing style, Trump wants as many people in the room for meetings and will sometimes ask lawyers for advice about people they do not represent. Two West Wing aides said at the same time, most West Wing aides don't have lawyers and yet have sometimes asked lawyers not representing them for guidance. Wonderful. Now, the Russia investigations, they say, have occupied a large chunk of the White House's time in recent months, and to the extent of which President and his aides follow the recommendations of their lawyers could determine how bad the fallout is inside of the West Wing. Now, why do they say that? Well, to the extent, shouldn't you follow your lawyer's advice? I mean, they're smarter than you. They actually know the law. No, but it turns out they've got a huge problem with following their lawyer's advice. Oh, lovely. Now, again, these investigations, they have been taking out a long time, that's for sure. And these have a lot of people nervous. I wonder why. Now, Matt Schlapp, who is a conservative activist close to the White House, who has a really interesting name to say, and who worked for George W. Bush, he said, quote, it's actually kind of unnerving to be in a White House when it's being investigated by a special counsel. That would be, of course, Robert Mueller. Now, he says, quote, these are people that have never been in government. White House aides are realizing, he said, that this is not what you signed up for, and that much of your day gets taken up. These people came to work for a president they really believe in and to get their agenda done. Now, look, I'm not sad that they're not getting their agenda done. Their agenda is essentially throwing millions of people off health care or health insurance, getting more tax cuts for rich people, deregulating industry, and essentially selling off the government and its pieces to giant corporations. Not interested in that. So I don't really feel bad for these guys, right? That are like, oh my God, my world is being disrupted by these investigations, and everybody's got lawyers now, and we can't talk to each other. Again, not sad. These people, for one, are in a White House that's being investigated, and two, they're in a deeply dysfunctional administration. Now, you can't blame that dysfunction on the Russians. The Russians didn't do that. You did that. Or I should say, Donald Trump did that because the problems inside the White House, they started at the top. Okay. Now, the lawyers, particularly Chief Attorney Mark Kasowitz, have been taken aback by the infighting in the West Wing, according to people familiar with his thinking. So, again, take that with a grain of salt, if you will. And he says they have been frustrated about what they often learn about big developments just before they happen, as they did on Saturday with the New York Times story on Donald Trump Jr.'s meeting with a person he believed to be a Russian government attorney. She ended up not being a Russian government attorney. But he didn't know that. Now, Trump's lawyers had no idea the story was posted until that afternoon, and learned of the president's role in crafting Donald Jr.'s first statement on Air Force One only after a subsequent piece on Tuesday was posted. They have also grown irritated with his tweets, according to several people familiar with the dynamics had said. They're irritated. They have just grown irritated. God, I wish you guys would knock your shit off. God damn it, Trump, stop. Now, Matt Miller, who is a former Department of Justice spokesman under the Obama administration, said, quote, "I'm not sure what the issues would be from a legal sense, but their conduct is definitely problematic and raises many issues. If they're all talking together and trying to get their story straight, that's a problem. Because again, there is investigations going on. So when you have investigations, you have to make sure that you're not like that you get your shit straight. Okay, if you're actually hiding something, everybody talking to each other, big problem, especially without their lawyers. Now, as far as disagreeing with your lawyer, well, we've seen that before, and Trump obviously disagrees with this lawyer a lot, right? Well, we've seen that before during the Obama administration. It's not unusual. In fact, Politico notes that former President Obama sometimes disagreed with his top White House lawyers and their advice, particularly when it was against what he wanted to do. According to a former Obama White House lawyer, quote, he would flash anger, but he would then listen to lawyers and often validate them to others on staff. And there's a bit of a difference here. Sure, he would get angry, of course, especially if, like, what are you telling me I can't do this policy? Why? Well, what's going on here? But then he would listen, and he'd be like, well, this lawyer gave me some good advice. And it's advice that we need to actually think about because, I mean, we want to think about the legal implications of what we're doing. All right, great. Now, Donald Trump, his aides, 7 months in, are now actually starting to listen. Isn't that amazing? According to one senior West Wing official, quote, top staffers increasingly understood that they needed to listen to their lawyers. And their advice is sinking in. This is all new to us. So, wait, you've been here for 7 months, and now you're just starting to listen? Dude, really? They're lawyers. Maybe you should listen to them. I'm just saying. Now, that's his aides. What about Trump himself? Well, this is going to be both hilarious and kind of sad. Now, they write that being on Trump's legal team has been a thankless job because the president assumes his lawyers can automatically make his problems go away. So, what do they have, like a magic wand? Problem, go away. Go away. That's so sad. Quote, the frustration that Trump is now expressing towards Kasowitz is quite similar to his ongoing irritations with the White House's top attorney, Don McGahn. For the past several months, Trump has been irritated that McGahn could not make the investigations into the Trump campaign's potential ties to Russia disappear. I am mad at you because you haven't made Russia disappear. So sad. The guy thinks that lawyers are like genies. Okay, just make it go away now. Do so. No, dude, that's not how it works. That ain't how it works. Now, according to another frequent advisor to the White House, quote, at 35,000 feet view, all the president wants is for it to go away. He wants an end to it, even if he does not know exactly how that happens. There is one way you could end it. Probably won't do it, but I'm sure you guys know already what I'm going to say, so I'm not going to say it. But no, look, as far as it going away, it's not going to go away. It's too late for that. And it's partly because of Donald Trump. Quote, many of the problems come from Trump, who assures his legal team that he understands their advice, but then disregards it. Several White House officials and advisors had said, They say, don't do this, don't do that, and then he tweets. Wow. And then one White House advisor added, and the conversation happens again. So the lawyers go and say, okay, don't tweet. Don't do this. Don't say this. Don't weigh in on Don Jr., for example. Don't do any of that. Oh, okay. Okay. Is he gone? I'm going to tweet something completely stupid now. President of the United States, man. And then they gotta go talk to him like he's a child. And then Politico writes, Trump will acknowledge that he should listen to his lawyers and then not listen to them, according to one White House official. You know why? He can't help himself. Okay, he's a toddler. He's got to tweet. You can't keep him away from the Twitter. No, he's got to do something. Like we've read reports here on the show where you have to distract him from the TV. You have to come up with things to distract him. And look, another thing, sort of unrelated, but he's such a child that people have to start inserting his name into news articles for him to be interested. Because he has no attention span unless it has something to do with him. Again, child, baby, sad. And look, you know the guy who reads the New York Times. You know he watches Morning Joe. He says he doesn't, but you know he does. That's why he's always angry at them, right? And then, of course, he gets pissed off about it, and he's got to go and tweet, despite his lawyers telling him, don't do that, or don't tweet about Russia, don't tweet about any of these things. And in fact, they said, Trump fumes about the investigation for several hours a day, potentially giving others legal liability. So again, he's going to go around and he's going to talk to all of his people in the White House, like complain about, fucking goddamn this investigation into Russia. Just go away. It's not like we did this and that and that and this. Dude, no, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I'm going to have to go hire a lawyer now. What are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep close to the vest. You're under investigation. Do you not understand what that means? But of course he does not. He's too stupid to figure out that he needs to shut his mouth. That and his big giant fat ego will not let him. Will not let him. Hey, what do you know, guys? Hey, what do you know anyway? I'm like the smartest person here. You're dummies. You're all dummies. Why haven't you made the Russia thing go away? If you're so smart, why haven't you made Russia go away? Huh? Sad, baby. No, the only thing sad about this is that there's a 70-year-old man that is the president of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, that has absolutely no self-control. He can't even stop himself from tweeting. And one person close to the legal team, getting back to the article, said the problems are not going away anytime soon. Trump isn't going to stop obsessing or talking to whoever he wants or tweeting. Well, he's absolutely right on that. And while lawyers were frustrated that Trump was involved in the statement about Donald Jr., he wasn't not going to be, according to that same person. The family will always take precedent over AIDS, and everyone in there is going to blame it on everyone else. This is how your White House is operating. The disorder here, the incompetence. And I've said it before. All these different reports have showed one thing, is that the incompetence of this administration is going to end up being its undoing. Just watch and wait. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.